Hey, what's up guys? Jaden here. Welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, I'll be showing you how you can actually get ahead of 99% of SEOs. I actually got this idea from some of the YouTube videos that I've been watching, and I thought it would be a really nice video to create for you guys so that when you are, doing SEO, you're wondering how you can get ahead of most people that are doing SEO. I think this will really be beneficial. So likewise, for every video, please do remember to leave a comment if you do have any questions, because I build a lot of videos. I create a lot of videos around questions that you guys have. So let me know if you have any questions after watching the video. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down in the comment section. I will look through them. So yeah, I'm going to show you as somebody who's been doing SEO for the past 5 years. I've managed different kind of sites. I've grown e-commerce sites. I've grown big brands and local SEOs, affiliate sites. Yeah, the whole lot. So I'm going to show you what I think personally is what's going to get you ahead of 99% of SEOs out there. So yeah, so you can see there's a few notes that I've listed here, but I'm going to basically show you on the whiteboard here. So yeah, okay, so how you can actually get ahead of 99% of SEOs, I believe it's down to one thing and one thing only, and it's implementation. Okay, I believe that this is the most important thing that you can do, because a lot of times you will be looking at theories, you'll be watching a lot of YouTube videos like this, and perhaps you'll be attending some courses, looking through a bunch of YouTube videos. But what I learned is the more you implement, the faster you pick things up. And you can see tons of YouTube videos. You can listen to a lot of podcasts about how SEO works, and you can even take up as much courses as you want. But you cannot get ahead of 99% of SEOs if you do not implement. So if there's only one thing that you could do right now that can get you ahead, I believe is implementation. You have to implement whatever that you have learned through, listening to podcasts, through your courses, through watching videos like this. You have to implement, because having all the theories is good. It sounds, but you're not going for an SEO debate, right? You're using SEO as a channel of marketing to either get you more traffic, more leads, make you more money. Right. So this is for all of you that, you have been watching videos, you have been listening to podcasts, but have not implemented, and you yourself know that you have not implemented anything yet. Stop everything, go and implement. Right. So there's a few things that you can, try to implement it on. I'm going to give you a few ways. Okay. The first way, let me see if I can just pop it here. Okay. So the first way that you can do, it's you can start a site. Okay, so the first way that you can do is you can actually start a site. Now, starting a site, it's the easiest way that you can learn, because there's not a lot of risk. The cost to start a site is relatively low. You just have to pay for hosting, and usually for first year of hosting, it's actually quite cheap, because they usually give you like discounts on first year, and then it's the renewal that gets you, right? But in terms of implementation, the fastest way that you can learn, it's straight away going to start a new site. Now, you may be wondering like what kind of sites you want to start, whether it should be a niche site, and what is the target audience you're trying to target, what is the product that you're selling. All these are good, but you don't want to spend so much time on those things, because most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, your first site is going to be a learning experience, right? Because you're not going to get it right usually on the first try. There may be some instances where people start their first site and immediately they can scale it, they can make lots of money from it. But you don't want to let the niche selection process, or deciding what products to sell, what kind of site you want to have, what's the design and things like that, you don't want to let all these delay your time to implement. Because like I mentioned, if you want to get ahead of most SEOs, you just have to implement. Because what I've noticed is a lot of SEOs, they are all theory, right? A lot of them are all theory basis. And again, you're not trying to win a SEO debate. You're trying to get more traffic, make more money from SEO, right? So the first way that I would recommend is you can start a site. Don't spend so much time again on researching, on analyzing. Just start a site, man. So once you start a site, everything that you have learned from your theory, from YouTube, from whoever that have told you about SEO, you can then go in and implement, because when you implement all these theories and if it works, it's going to give you the reinforcement of evidence or give you more confidence about, whether does this thing actually work, right? A lot of times when you are, doing SEO, some of the stuff that people mention, they may not work. So you want to start a site and implement all the things that you learn. And do note that, SEO takes time because of how the algorithm works. Google takes time to understand your website. So what you want to do is to implement things, and then you have to give it some time, like between 3 to 6 months, especially if it's a new site, right? But this 3 to 6 months, within the first month or second month or third month, please do not expect yourself to see like a rise in traffic. Don't expect to see like thousands of traffic to your website, because that's not going to happen. If it does, congrats to you. You're the odd one out. But most of the time, it's not going to happen, right? But you should start a site ASAP, implement whatever that you've learned, and then wait 3 to 6 months. Within these 3 to 6 months, you can go in and implement things again. You can go in and test things out. But you really want to take this first site as a trial site, right? Just to make sure that whatever that you learn, it's working. Okay, that's the first way of how you can implement things. There are a few other ways. All of this I've tried already. So the second way that you can implement things, is you can basically work in a company. Okay, you can either work in a company or an agency, and in this case, again, you're not starting your own site. My recommendation is always start your own site. Even if, let's say, you're working in a company or agency, you still can start your own site. But if you are working in a company or agency, chances are you'll be given projects to work on, and you can basically, use all the theories and apply it on the portfolios that you're working on. Now, if you're entirely new, then I would hope that there'll be somebody watching over you or giving you some guidance, because you don't want to just go in and, if you're entirely new, right, you don't just want to go in and implement things straight away, because that's going to make all the portfolios that you're handling or all the websites that you're handling take a hit, and you do not want that, right? So it's also unfair to the people that you are working for. But implementation wise, another quick way for you to implement things, it's work in a company. You can work in-house. So when you're working in-house, you're basically taking care of just most of the time one brand. You're just focusing on organic search, increasing organic search traffic and conversions from that one brand. Now, if you're working in an agency, then you would be able to, highly likely, you'll be able to work on multiple projects at a time. Stress level and the workload may be higher, but you'll be exposed to a lot more kinds of SEO, right? Because in SEO, there's different types of SEO. There is affiliate SEO, there's local SEO, there is e-commerce SEO, there is publication SEO, there is link building, there is on-page, there is SEO for the finance niche, there's SEO for B2B, there's SEO for SaaS, and tons of types of SEO. So if you're working in an agency and you have the exposure of handling different types of SEO projects, then that will help you to gain more knowledge on different types of SEO, and this will also help you put you in front of 99% of SEOs. And again, the main word here is implementation. You have to go in and implement, okay? And next, and all these methods are methods that I've personally used, which is what I would recommend. The last one that I'll recommend is just go into freelance, okay? So when you're freelancing, again, the concept here is the same, right? You get to work on different projects. And naturally, when you're just starting out, you don't have the knowledge, or you don't have the in-depth details of what works and what doesn't. And so when you are naturally starting out, you may not be able to charge that much of an amount. And that should not stop you from freelancing, because freelancing, again, you have the chance of working on a website. And usually for people that are looking for freelance work, or people who are looking for freelancers, most of the time their sites are usually at a place where they are okay to take a little bit more risk. And because most of the time they will not be at a place where they are engaging a agency, because if they have the budget to engage an agency, they will not necessarily look for freelancers. So these sites, or these business owners or site owners, their organic search usually isn't that great. And so when you're taking on their work as a freelancer, there's not a lot of risk involved, meaning to say their site most of the time should not have that much organic traffic to them already. So yeah, these are my three methods of how you can straight away go in and implement. My first recommendation is always just to start a site first, and you can start a site when even if you're working in-house, for example. My thoughts and my recommendation, first of all, it's always to start a site. Because even if, let's say, you're working freelancing for other companies, or you're working in a company or an agency, there are a lot of things that you cannot test on the client side because there's too much to lose, right? And also some of the time you may face some friction. And so starting a site, it's you are the site owner and you have a lot more flexibility and freedom to kind of test what you want to test, and so that you'll be able to find out what really works and what doesn't. Because a lot of times people in our SEO community, they have a lot of theories, there are a lot of things that they say may have worked. And I've tried so many things. I've tried things that a lot of people say have worked but didn't. I have also tried, things that people say doesn't work but it did. And again, if you want to get ahead of most SEOs, start a site, begin testing out things. Now, if you have already started a site, right, or if you have already implemented SEO, right, then this is the next step that I would suggest you take that will help you get ahead of people who are already implementing things. And that is to test. Okay. You want to learn, test, and learn again. So in the first phase of learning, you have already implemented all the theories that you have learned, all the knowledge that you have already, and that is the first step of implementation, right? So you are learning. Now what you want to do next is you want to test. Okay, you want to test what things actually work, what things doesn't work. And once you have tested things already, then you get a feedback and then you learn again. And this whole process is basically kind of like a circle, right? So it's going around and around this whole thing. This whole thing is kind of like a circle. Okay. I do not how to so it's a continuously ongoing cycle, because if you look at SEO optimization, it's called optimization for a reason, because you're always optimizing based off on what's new, and a lot of times it's based off on what the algorithm wants, and what the algorithm wants usually means what users want, right? So it's always about learning, testing, learning, testing, learning, testing, and learning and testing. So if you've already implemented things, the next thing that you need to have is this framework of learning and testing and learning and testing. There's no perfection. There's always continuously optimization. And there are a few ways that you can do this. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few ways of how I do it and what help I get. Just going to put this circle here. Okay. So firstly is communities. Okay. Now there's different types of communities. There are Facebook groups, but what I generally find it's Facebook groups usually because of the sheer amount of people in there. There are a lot of SEOs, and the thing is you do not know who is giving you advice. So you can join Facebook groups, because that's how initially I got started. I got started in Facebook groups. I started asking questions about, I've done this for my site. Again, you have to implement things before you start asking questions. Please do not ask questions if you have not implemented anything yet, because it's not going to help you. Trust me, right? So only ask questions when you have already implemented things. And if things doesn't work out, or if you are not sure about how you can implement this better, then go ahead and ask all these questions, right? So Facebook groups is one of them, but generally do take note, because Facebook group, the bigger the group, the more people there are, and you want to know who is giving you advice, right? If somebody who is in the same position as you just started out in SEO and you're asking a question, and this person just started out in SEO, it's probably not going to be that much of a help to you. So if you are in Facebook groups and you are asking questions, then I think that it's okay, but just to take note about what type of feedback you're getting, right? And the pros about this kind of groups is because there's a lot of people in there, you'll get a lot of feedback. I would say it's kind of pros and cons. Pros is there's a lot of people giving you feedback, which means there's a lot of methods to try. But cons is sometimes there's too many solutions to one question. So you might get confused there, right? But again, communities are Facebook is one good place that you can go to. The other one are Slack channels. Okay, so Slack channels you can find them as well, and typically these are the same as Facebook groups, but with Slack channels, what you can do is you can PM the person that is in the Slack channel. So if there's somebody that you want to learn from, and you know that this person already knows how to do SEO and you have been following the person's work for a while, and if let's say, for example, you know that this person is specializing in technical SEO and you have a technical SEO question, then you can straight away PM the person, right? You can do that in Facebook as well. But for you to go in and see who is there, the members within there, I don't think that's possible. In Slack, you can do that. You can PM the person personally. So that's a good way for you to get personalized feedback. And again, for you to learn. Okay. And so these are communities, right? The other one, and do take note, some communities are paid, and generally I find that paid communities are usually the kind of feedback that you get, it's higher quality in a sense that because the community is not that big, and if you are involved in a community, in a paid community, the group naturally becomes smaller because not everybody wants to pay to be in a community, right? But trust me, if you have the money to invest in a community, you want to, invest in that because the questions that you ask in there and the feedback that you get, it's very, very personalized. That's first. And secondly, the feedback that you get, it's generally from people who already knows their shit, right? They already know SEO. They've already done SEO a lot of times. And the feedback that you get, it's they are of a higher quality. So if you can pay for certain communities like Slack or, I believe there are a lot of other communities, SEO communities out there, you can go and search about it. And if you are interested to find out some of the communities that I recommend and things like that, if you are interested, let me know in the comment section. I may create a video for that. And but paid communities are a way to go. So the first method is via communities. Now, the second method for testing and illustration purposes is to build personal relationships. Okay. So how you can build personal relationships is actually very simple. You can think of all the social media channels there is, right? But generally, it's one of them that you can find, which I find that it's one of the places where it's easier to connect because it's on a personal and business. It's a platform where you can reach out to the person, and if they are in the space of SEO, they will also be able to connect with you since you are in the same space as them. And generally, SEOs like to connect with SEOs because we all sing the same song, right? So LinkedIn is one place that I've gotten, and the other one it's through Slack as well, right? Because like I mentioned, Slack allows you to send personal messages, and so when you are asking specific questions to the person that you're learning from, right, it's easier for you to learn because the question that you have, it's very, very specific. And so the person that is giving you the replies, their advice will be very specific as well. So it will be very helpful because then you will get to learn scenarios where it's not that vague, and these type of scenarios don't happen online, right? Chances are people are not going to create a video about, how to fix a canonical tag on a finance website that have over 1,000 pages, right? But if you were to ask that question to a personal mentor in an SEO space, then that's going to be very helpful because then you know exactly within this space, within your website for your particular situation, what works and what doesn't, okay? And the other one will be consulting call. So I'm just going to put consulting calls here, okay? And again, these are kind of like paid option and free options. So consulting call is also one way for you to get ahead of your SEO game because again, the quality that you get from these kind of consulting calls, they are usually hyper targeted to your specific questions. They are not generic ones. And if you are getting generic answers from a lot of people, then you might want to think of the type of consulting calls you're getting into. But generally, consulting calls are a good way for you to increase the speed of your learning, testing, and learning. Okay. And last but not least, it's going to be courses. Now, courses, they do get a lot of different emotions around courses because some of the time courses are created to sell, but there are a lot of courses out there that teaches you stuff about, whether if it's affiliate marketing, whether if it's local SEO and things like that. But I personally find that courses, because their information is very structured, so I like to take courses, especially from people that I follow, that I know that have been in the game for a very long time, that live and breathe SEO. And not only that, but other people in the SEO space have vouched for their work, have vouched for their services and products. And that's why I take up all these courses. And generally, courses also come with these two. So they also give you community. And some of the time, you can also reach out to the person. Either they are doing consulting call and things like that. So that's one way of how you can kind of like get personal relationships and communities, right? But courses are generally a good way to go. And again, if you like some examples of some courses that I've taken, my recommendations and things like that, do let me know. I may create a video on that. But yeah, this is essentially how you can get ahead of most of the SEOs. The first step is just basically implementation. You have to implement. My suggestion is start a site. Okay, because you can learn the most when starting a site, because you get the full flexibility, the creativity of testing out things that you don't know whether it will or will not work. And also you may be able to find some new methods while testing, right? So starting a site is my absolute recommendation. And then you can work in a company or agency, or you can freelance. And then if you already started implementation, then my recommendation is for you to learn, test and learn. Okay, and start asking questions in communities through personal relationships, and start to invest in some courses. So this is what I believe that will get you ahead of 99% of SEOs. So if you like this video, please do like, share, and most of you watching this video, if you watch until here and you're not subscribed yet, please do subscribe. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. Your subscription, your help will be really appreciated. So this is Jaden. Thank you so much for watching this video. And likewise, as usual, chase progress and not perfection.